Excellencies on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. I'd like to thank ILETS for the kind invitation and also congratulate them for the 13th edition of this summit. As you rightly pointed out, Brazil is more than football, Brazil is more than carnival. Brazil is also about technology, digital technology, and innovation. As you probably may know, similarly to India, Brazil also attributes lots of priority to digital policies, digital governments, and digital transformation. Throughout the past 2 decades, Brazil has experienced a true revolution in its telecom and IT sector, which has had extremely positive impacts in diverse areas of our society, including economy, education, healthcare system, just to name a few. The liberalization of the telecom sector in the mid-1990s coincided with the entry and rapid growth of the commercial end-user internet in Brazil. The number of internet users rose from just over 300,000 in 1995 to almost 2 million 2 years later, and then to 10 million in the early 2000s. As of today, about 125 million Brazilians are regularly connected to the web, which represents approximately 65% of our population. During the same period, we have seen a rise of a vibrant technology startup ecosystem. Together with India, it's one of the largest ecosystems in the world, which keeps growing at a fast pace thanks to our young and ever more tech-savvy population. The Brazilian agri-tech and the Brazilian fintech startup sectors have been particularly successful in the past years. As a matter of fact, the latest FinTech 100 report prepared by KPMG lists 3 Brazilian and 3 Indian fintechs among of the most innovative financial startups in the world. In the healthcare domain, Brazilian states and municipalities have managed to both enhance and spread medical assistance thanks to the use of information and communication technologies. In one of the 27 Brazilian states, called Minas Gerais, in the southern eastern part of the country, a cooperation involving federal government, state government, and seven local universities has created a telehealth network which covers almost 800 municipalities out of the 840 municipalities in that state, and provides local inhabitants with teleassistance services in basically all medical areas. In the education domain, ICTs have had a fundamental impact in remote areas such as our Amazon. In 2001, the government of the state of Amazonas has created, in partnership again with a local university, a media center of education which uses satellite and IPTV technologies to provide basic and high school classes to remote communities. As of now, more than 500,000 students in 2,400 communities have benefited from this program. Brazil has also had great achievements in the digital governance and policy domain. Our multi-stakeholder model of internet governance is known worldwide and has been a reference for other countries as well. In the Brazilian Internet Steering Committee, the so-called CGI.br, which, among other tasks, manages the .br country code and also coordinates the activity of the National Computer Emergency Response Team. In this steering committee, government authorities, university representatives, private sector associations, and civil society organizations have equal voting rights. So it's an actual implementation, a concrete implementation of what we call the multi-stakeholder model. In 2014, Brazil enacted its Internet Bill of Rights, called Marco Civil da Internet, a first of its kind national legislation that was crafted following a bottom-up approach with a decisive participation of civil society activists, lawyers, and academia. Thanks to this law, Marco Civil, Brazil Internet runs and operates according to the principle of net neutrality, and the privacy of Brazilian Internet users is protected through specific provisions that, for example, demand a judicial order for the disclosure of personal data, including metadata. When it comes to digital transformation, of course, Brazil has, as you could see, has a lot to share, but also has a lot to learn. In this context, international collaboration is key. Brazil and India work together and collaborate in many multilateral and interregional organizations involved in digital regimes and policies. As a matter of fact, we don't only work together, but to a large extent, we share the same views. To give you a concrete example, thanks to both Brazil and India, a consensus has been reached in the 10 years review of the World Summit of Information Society, the so-called WSIS plus 10 process, which took place 3 years ago in New York at the United Nations. Thanks to the mediating ability of both Indian and Brazilian diplomats, developing and developed countries have managed to agree on sensitive points such as the actions to bridge the digital divide and also overarching principles of Internet governance. Similarly, within the context of the Internet Corporation of Assigned Names and Numbers, ICANN, the company that is headquartered in Los Angeles, California, and manage, to put it simply, the Internet Address Book. Within ICANN, both Brazil and India have been acting side by side to defend greater participation of developing countries and to make sure the organization operates in a truly multi-stakeholder nature. On the bilateral domain, too, a lot has been achieved, though there is potential for much more. Indian IT firms, you know all of them, have been investing heavily in Brazil in the past 10, 15 years. And today they own development centers that are scattered throughout our country. And similarly, Brazilian companies, especially in the IT banking sector, have set up offices in major Indian cities and are starting to grow in the Indian market. The Brazilian embassy here in New Delhi is also working hard to bring together both startup ecosystems and to foster collaborations between them. Last August, I was mentioning here, we have sponsored a mission of 4 Brazilian agritechs to Bangalore, where young Brazilian entrepreneurs have had the opportunity to showcase their innovative technologies, to interact with Indian stakeholders, and to explore business opportunities here in this country. Next year, we'll have the second edition of this same mission. In addition to that, in upcoming April, in Mumbai, the first India-Brazil FinTech conference is going to take place, where we plan to bring together under the same roof experts from both countries to discuss adoption of technologies such as AI, blockchain, digital payments, and so on. On a government-to-government level, Brazil and India have also held successful bilateral meetings on international cyber issues. and plan to sign an MOU on cybersecurity. The idea is to collaborate through the exchange of best practices and also the sharing of data in the prevention of cyber attacks and cyber crimes in general. Brazil and India share, as you could see, both achievements and challenges in the digital domain. Both countries can be commended for the transformation implemented through the adoption of ICTs in healthcare, education, entrepreneurship, and trade, but also we must realize that much more needs to be done. For example, last-mile internet access and digital literacy are some areas where improvement need to be made. I'm sure that through the exchange of good practices and by deepening the interactions between both our societies, we will be able to identify solutions of mutual benefits. Thank you very much.